The judge once described Mr. Allen as self-absorbed, untrustworthy, and insensitive as a father. Allen himself acknowledged under oath that he had not truly functioned as a parent. Yet for 25 years he paid child support for Ronan Farrow, raised him as his son, and never publicly questioned his paternity. That silence ended in 2020, when Allen wrote in his memoir that he was not completely certain Ronan was biologically his. With that single admission, decades of rumor resurfaced, drawing Frank Sinatra, long-buried secrets, and one of Hollywood's most painful family scandals back into the spotlight. Woody Allen was born Alan Stewart Konigsberg in Brooklyn, a nervous, fast-thinking kid whose wit set him apart early. By the mid-1950s, while still barely out of his teens, he was earning extraordinary money writing jokes for television variety shows. He worked alongside some of the sharpest comedic minds of the era, producing an astonishing volume of material every day. The grind refined his timing and voice, and before long he felt compelled to step out from behind the typewriter and perform his own material. In New York clubs, Allen developed a style that felt intimate and confessional. He spoke about fear, insecurity, romance, and death with a jittery honesty that audiences recognized as their own. That voice carried him to Broadway and then to film, where he quickly proved he could translate his anxious humor into cinematic form. Early movies mocked crime films and political revolutions with absurd mock documentary styles, earning modest budgets and unexpectedly strong box office returns. Everything changed with Annie Hall in 1977. The film shattered conventional storytelling, blending memories, fantasies, and direct address to the audience. It earned multiple Academy Awards and transformed Allen into a defining cultural figure. Manhattan followed, shot in luminous black and white, solidifying his reputation as a filmmaker capable of blending romance, melancholy, and sharp humor into something distinctly his own. Through the 1980s he worked at an astonishing pace, releasing film after film that ranged from experimental satire to deeply emotional drama, winning praise and awards along the way. While Allen's career soared, Mia Farrow's life had already been shaped by fame and hardship. Born into Hollywood royalty, she grew up surrounded by actors, directors, and constant attention. As a child she endured polio, months of isolation, and painful treatments that left lasting emotional scars. In her late teens she became a television sensation, then transitioned into film, earning acclaim for her vulnerability and quiet strength. Her personal life drew as much attention as her career. Her marriage to Frank Sinatra, marked by a dramatic age gap and intense public scrutiny, ended after 2 years but never fully faded from her life. Farrow later described Sinatra as the great love of her life, a bond that lingered long after their divorce. Professionally, she delivered iconic performances, most notably in Rosemary's Baby, which cemented her as a global star. By the 1970s, Farrow balanced demanding film roles with an expanding family. She adopted children from abroad, welcomed biological children, and became known for blending motherhood with a serious acting career. After her marriage to Andre Previn ended, she found herself a single mother to a large household, managing both emotional and financial responsibility while continuing to work. In 1979, Farrow met Woody Allen. Despite their differences, they formed a partnership that was both romantic and creative. They never lived together, but for over a decade Farrow became Allen's muse, starring in many of his most admired films. Together they adopted children, and in 1987 Farrow gave birth to Ronan. Allen was present at the hospital and was publicly acknowledged as the father. To the outside world, the family appeared unconventional but stable. Yet rumors surrounded Ronan almost from birth. His striking blue eyes and dark hair reminded many of Frank Sinatra. Farrow kept photographs of Sinatra in the nursery and later admitted she believed he might be Ronan's biological father. No paternity test was ever done. Allen accepted the role of father, supporting Ronan financially and emotionally, while whispers continued quietly in Hollywood circles. As the children grew, cracks formed in the relationship between Farrow and Allen. Those fractures became impossible to ignore in 1992, when Farrow discovered nude photographs of her adopted daughter Suni in Allen's apartment. Allen admitted to having taken the photos and to being in a sexual relationship with her. The revelation ended the relationship instantly and ignited public outrage. Months later, Farrow's 7-year-old daughter Dylan accused Allen of sexual abuse. The accusation triggered investigations, custody battles, and years of public argument. Medical examinations found no physical evidence, and one investigative team concluded the child may have been influenced during an emotionally volatile period. Others criticized the investigation as flawed and incomplete. Allen denied the allegations, claiming he was being targeted during a bitter custody fight. The courts granted Farrow primary custody, while Allen retained limited visitation. No outcome satisfied public opinion, and the controversy never truly faded. Amid the turmoil, Allen released Husbands and Wives, a film about a collapsing marriage and attraction to a younger woman. Its timing made it feel inseparable from real life, and critics could not ignore the parallels. The film succeeded artistically, but the scandal overshadowed everything that followed. Years passed, but the questions only deepened. Ronan Farrow grew into a prominent journalist, known for investigating abuse of power. The mystery of his paternity lingered as a cultural curiosity until Allen reignited it himself. In his 2020 memoir, he wrote that he believed Ronan was his son but admitted uncertainty. After decades of silence, the statement reopened old wounds and fueled renewed debate. Ronan himself had previously joked publicly about possibly being Sinatra's son, a comment that reflected both humor and unresolved truth. Farrow had long suggested Sinatra was Ronan's biological father, while members of Sinatra's family offered mixed responses. Without DNA evidence, speculation filled the gap, amplified by social media comparisons and endless commentary. Allen's memoir sparked protest. Employees at a major publishing house walked out, leading to the book's cancellation and eventual release elsewhere. Ronan condemned the decision to publish it, arguing that it dismissed allegations of abuse and ignored survivors. The backlash marked a shift in how powerful figures were challenged and how institutions responded. Today, the story remains unresolved. No test has been taken, no definitive answer reached. What endures is a tangled legacy of brilliance and damage, love and betrayal, truth and uncertainty. The question of Ronan's father may never be answered, but the emotional consequences of the choices made by everyone involved continue to ripple through Hollywood and beyond.